Hey, what's up guys? Brandon Washington with BWash Media here, and as you guys probably already saw from the thumbnail or from the title, today I'm going to be doing a quick review over the Canon 7D thanks to my guys over at the Photo Rental Source. But on top of that, I'm going to be going ahead doing a little bit of an update as far as what's been going on with my life, what's going on with the channel, because I know I've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but it's not because I'm not filming. It's really because I've been doing a lot of filming. And so doing that and doing reviews has been a little bit tricky, but I think I figured out something that works. So yeah, like I just said, I am going to be doing a review over this guy. This is the Canon 7D, and I have definitely been in the market looking for a new DSLR body to add to my current collection of cameras. Now currently I have an 80D and I have a 6DD, and I have like some Rebel cameras, but I've been looking for something a little bit better. And so I decided, trying to stick to the Canon family, I'd go ahead and take a look at the Canon 7D for a couple reasons. As some of you guys who've been watching my channel for a while may know, from time to time I do dabble in photography, and so, you know, my son, if you guys don't know, I have a son, but my son has been doing t-ball, and so having something like this is perfect because of how fast it is. It's great for sports. But for this review, primarily we're going to be speaking more so on how this camera works for video, because there are a lot of similarities between this and the 80D, and so I wanted to kind of touch on as far as what's the same, what's a little bit different, and if I think this is a good camera for anyone who's looking for a solid video and photography DSLR. Alright, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into the review. So a couple things that I really did like about this camera, and that is all of the really nice ports. Now this camera is actually a little bit older than the 80D, but it has some ports that I think is actually better than what the 80D has. For starters, the USB port on here. So this thing has USB 3.0 built right into the camera. So it's actually located right there, and I freaking love that, because being able to plug this guy straight into my computer and transfer those files right over was easy, flawless, and I actually like that a lot more than like my 80D, which doesn't have 3.0 for some weird reason, but I have to actually take my SD card out and plug that into the computer, and I really hate that process because I've actually broken at least 2 or even 3, I think 3 SD cards by putting them in and out of, you know, my computer. And that sucks because now I have like 2 of them for sure. I know they won't write anymore, so I can get the pictures off of them, and I was able to do that, but I can't put them in my camera. It keeps thinking that they're locked and they're not, and I don't really know how to fix that. So I love the fact that this thing has USB 3.0 because that makes things so much easier. It also does have a mic input, which is great if you're gonna put a microphone on your camera or use like a lav system so you can record audio internally. And then it also does have a HDMI port, so if you want to run to a monitor, which I think is great, because that's gonna be a big deal. Because one of the big things I don't like about this, and that is the LCD screen. The LCD screen on this guy is so lacking for a couple different reasons. One, in this day and age, so many people are using DSLRs for photo or for video, and I think, you know, not having a flip out screen on any DSLR, whether that's the 5D Mark III or Mark IV, or, you know, the 7D Mark II here, I think a flip out screen is something that should just be put on every single DSLR at this point. So many people are using them for YouTube or for vlogging or for whatever, and so not being able to actually monitor your screen unless you're directly behind, someone's texting me, unless you're directly behind, you know, the camera, that really kind of sucks. So I would love to have seen a flip out screen on this guy. The other thing that I don't like about this screen, and that is that it is not touchscreen. I have fingerprints on it, but they're there for no reason. Having a touchscreen on this dude would totally take this camera kind of to the next level and make it something that I would love to use even more so. But because it does not have that touchscreen, it is kind of lacking a little bit. Navigating through the menus is a little bit more difficult because you have this little turn dial thing and then this little joystick thing that I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like that joystick at all. So I would love to have seen a touchscreen on this guy. So if they do update those things, I'm hoping for sure at least put touchscreen on here, which I would imagine they would because they've done it on the 5D and the 1DX that don't have swivel screens. But one thing I'm pretty sure Canon probably won't do, but I hope they do, is put a swivel screen on the back of this camera, because it would make things so much easier. Now, even though those things are kind of, you know, bummers, there are a couple of the good things I do like about this camera. One actually has to do with the actual spot for the SD cards, and that is that this thing not only takes an SD card, but it also takes a compact flash. And that is amazing, because you have a lot of different choices as far as cards that you want to use to write your media to, but on top of that, you can actually put two of them there at the exact same time. And so if you want to have a redundancy, more like a backup, you can have that type of a setup, or you can have additional storage, so where if your compact flash fills up, then it automatically starts writing over to your SD card, or vice versa, and you can kind of change that over in the menus. And I definitely liked that. Now, I personally didn't use it, but I could see on longer shoots, or, you know, if you are someone who's kind of a, you know, media hoarder and you don't like to empty your cards, you can always throw two cards in here and you can have tons of space and be able to pretty much shoot for a couple days or even weeks, depending on how you shoot. So all in all, I do have to say I do love this camera. I actually took it with me to a job I had with one of the local radio stations here in Houston, and it performed phenomenally. I actually think it might have been a little bit sharper than my 80D, but you know, that's primarily due to lenses and things like that, so I can't 100% say that it was sharper than the 80D, but it definitely held its own. But it definitely did hold its own. Yeah, so it definitely held its own right next door to the, what the hell am I saying? So it definitely did hold its own sitting next to the 80D, and you know, in a situation where I was running multiple cameras at once, it was nice to be able to have something like this that did edit really well with the 80D. But what are my final thoughts when it comes to this camera? I think it is a phenomenal photography camera. However, when it comes to video, I have to be honest, this lack of this touchscreen really kills it for me. Now, if you are a photographer who does sports photography, or you know, you just do portraits, or really any kind of photography, and you're looking for a great photography camera that also does great video, then I strongly recommend this camera if you're not trying to shovel out the money for something like a 5D Mark III or Mark IV. However, if you are someone who does video first and then dabbles in photography, or if your primary gig is to do the videos and then from time to time you throw in a photo job here and there, I probably am gonna recommend that you stick with an 80D, and that's probably what I'm gonna do. I don't see myself buying this camera just because it doesn't have that touchscreen, which I know sounds kind of crazy and is kind of a, you know, crazy reason to not buy a camera, but in today's age, being able to pull focus with just a tap on the screen, especially because of the type of jobs that I'm doing, you know, that's something that you strongly should probably consider. But however, if you still find yourself on the fence whether you want to pick up this camera or not, I definitely recommend you rent this, and you know, rent them from my guys over at the Photo Rental Source. Let them know that I sent you their way, and you know, I think it's a great camera to rent. I will see myself, you know, renting it in the future to use for sports photography or whatever. It's just not a camera I can see myself buying, but it is still a great camera. Now, with that review kind of out of the way, let's kind of talk about what's been going on with this channel. Now, I know that I have been on a hiatus, but it has to do kind of with some of the footage that you just saw in the review. I've been working so hard with a lot of different companies that I've been so busy, I haven't even had time to edit. My schedule has basically been shoot all day, edit all night, and don't sleep. And that makes things a little bit difficult. However, I have a totally new setup, as you can see here, and this is gonna allow me to produce more videos for you guys. So I'm even gonna try to put myself on a little bit of a schedule to make sure that I am posting throughout the week, every single week. So if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you love photography gear or video gear, you know, you're definitely gonna wanna stick around for this channel. Also hit that thumbs up button if this video has been helpful. But with all that being said, I have a lot of new stuff coming up, so be on the lookout, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.